This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. As many of you know, today was the court hearing or the oral argument between the Heritage Foundation and the Department of Homeland Security. And I am looking online and seeing a lot of media articles coming out saying Prince Harry's book is not proof that he took these mind altering substances. And that pretty much is the dominant headline that people are running with. Folks, if you have been paying attention to my channel, I have gone through every step of the way of this court case and have discussed the arguments going back and forth between DHS and their pushback, as well as the Heritage Foundation's argument. Now, I take these articles that I'm reading in the media with a grain of salt. Until I see the actual court documents, I am not going to believe anything that these media outlets are saying, particularly the Express, known to favor the Harkles. So, are they spinning this in a way that's showing like this case is, nonsensical and should be thrown out? Absolutely, because that's what PR and propaganda do. Now, if you've been following this with me from the very beginning, each step of the way, then you would recognize that the Department of Homeland Security has been doing a lot of deflection in the sense of ignoring every argument that's being put forward by the Heritage Foundation. So let me clear something up that I see being talked about online. This is not Prince Harry, and this has nothing to do with any lawyers representing Prince Harry. The lawyers that are in this case are the lawyers for the Department of Homeland Security protecting the Biden administration and the Heritage Foundation. So, what is happening here? And for those that are now catching up to speed, this originally started with the Heritage Foundation opening up a FOIA case in wanting to know if Harry was given special privileges and understanding if he lied or admitted his drug use on his application. That was it. And the Heritage Foundation not only was given the runaround by DHS, but then took its sweet time to respond back in a manner that totally shut down every argument, or not even shut down every argument, but ignored every argument that Heritage Foundation put forward as to why they need to know this information and why it outweighs his privacy and it is in the public interest to know this information. So this is what the back and forward is right now. So using this excuse of the book is not enough proof that Harry does drugs and, should be investigated is a weak one, in my humble opinion, because not only did they put the book in there, but they put all the articles and all the interviews that Prince Harry did admitting to this drug use. So look, I'm going to ask you guys to send this video now to the Heritage Foundation and Niles Gardner to show them that this is an open and closed case around this book. Harry verbally here is admitting that these words in the book are his. It's his truth, as stated on the Stephen Colbert show in this interview.
I know that you yourself are a very private person for being a public figure. You're revealing a lot of things in here. It must be on a certain level kind of nerve-wracking to be out there to publicly and physically represent the book.
Look, writing this book has been a cathartic experience for me. Hard times and happy times, bringing up old memories that I didn't think I had, which are central to so much of my story in my 38 years up until this point. And after spending 2 years focused on context, what I'm going to share, how I'm going to share it, and being able to piece it all together, my life, my story, and every experience that I've had. And this is the other side of the story, right? After 38 years. They've told their side of the story. This is the other side of the story. And there's a lot in here that, perhaps makes people feel uncomfortable and scared sitting on this. When, as you say, that you've read it, and everybody else will hopefully be able to have a chance to read it, my words are not dangerous. My words are not dangerous. Wonder. And then I'm falling out of clubs, I'm taking drugs, I'm drinking heavily, all of that. Again, it's all there.
And then I'm falling out of clubs, I'm taking drugs, I'm drinking heavily, all of that. Again, it's all there.
And I understand, especially for British people, that it can be incredibly jarring to have my name to a lot of these stories.
I get the sense that you're being honest when you speak, and being factually honest. As you say, these are all, you're standing behind all of these stories, but also emotionally honest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You've watched The Crown, right? You've got to have watched some of The Crown, right?
People love it. Yes, I have actually watched The Crown.
Yeah. Do you fact check it while you watch it?
Yes, I do actually. Which, by the way, another reason why it's so important that history has it right.
Another reason why it's so important that history has it right.
I don't know. DHS either didn't do their homework or they think people are stupid. Heritage Foundation must submit this as evidence to show that Harry 100% took ownership of the book and the information that was in it, claiming that history needs to have it right. So, call me just a simpleton. From what I understand this to be is that, yeah, this is supposed to be Harry's Bible. We are supposed to believe everything in that book is the truth. So how are you going to get out of this one? Is the DHS department going to tell the court that now that wasn't Harry who was speaking on TV? I mean, you can't make this up. Like, using this excuse is not going to fly. And I hope that the Heritage Foundation pushes back and submits this additional evidence. Just my humble opinion. And when I see tweets like this from Niall Gardner, it shows me that the Heritage Foundation may not be so well versed in what has been going on. Because had that issue been raised in this court case today, if the Heritage Foundation were on the ball with stuff, then they would have put that particular interview up front to say, no, that's not an excuse. Harry, in his own words, says that this is what he wanted to be as truth. So the Heritage Foundation really needs to listen to the people, because there are people telling them that Harry has been interfering with our government and our Constitution and our rights. Now, people are talking about this. As you can see in this tweet, it says, Boeing, how many know that the censorship industrial complex and the real anti-free speech entity is the defense industrial conglomerate? The military are behind this, not your elected politicians. And that is 1,000% correct, folks. I mean, I said this in my last video. Anyhow, incidentally, Mr. Elder Abuser, aka Prince Harry, is a leader in the Aspen Institute censorship funded by Boeing. That is also true. Plus, Invictus Games, also funded by Boeing. That's also true. So your freedoms are being discarded by a traitorous British prince whoring for money. Thank King Charles for this. Here's another one replying to Elon Musk. Didn't you suspend community notes on your own account, though? Was making a point. I agree that the government industrial censorship complex that is and has been happening worldwide is quite frightening, especially with people like Prince Harry are involved in the US with it as a foreigner and royal. Of course it's crazy. It's just that people are asleep or people are just not paying attention. Now, this next tweet by the Office of HRH Princess of Sussex gets it. And they say, Americans, zero respect for those that fought and died for your freedom and the lives you live. You allowing Prince Harry to call your First Amendment bonkers and the frontrunner for the censorship industrial complex and infiltrate your army and interfere with politics? Thank you out there. Thank you for echoing this message that I have been trying to echo for the last couple of years over. I'm glad people are waking up. And to drive this message home from the British prince, he writes, yes, Prince Harry is getting himself involved into censorship of the American people and press. He should be treated like any other immigrant if they lied on their immigration forms. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so glad to see that people from across the pond are starting to see this and understand it. Lady C, in her recent video about Dan Wooten, has very much talked about what Harry and Meghan have been involved in with the media and press. So it's not just the UK that they're doing this with. Of course, they're doing this over here. Look, I really hope that this situation with Dan Wooten does get exposed on a global level, showcasing that Meghan and Harry are against free speech. If you don't take my word for it and all the things that I've been telling everyone, then listen to Lady C and what she says about what these two have been doing.
I personally do not think, in the context of the whole matter and the danger to freedom of speech, which is represented by Harry Meghan, David Sherborne, and their backers, such as Hugh Grant of Hacked Off and Elton John, not to mention members of Parliament such as that idiot woman Caroline Noakes, Conservative. Well, let's see if she hangs on to her seat, because people like her are dangerous, and we have found ourselves involved in this country in attacks to our civil liberties from Meghan and Harry and those embarrassments, David Sherborne, Hugh Grant, Elton John. Considering that this whole complaint against Dan Wootton has now turned out to have been a vicious fabrication to destroy the excellent career of one of our good journalists. There will be more to come with this. This is just the initial. But we are speaking about rectifying a grave injustice. And unless the Harrys and Meghans of this world are stopped in their tracks, they will continue to destroy the careers and lives of innocent people. You do understand that had the police not exonerated Dan, he could have ended up going to prison, despite being innocent, just so that Harry and Meghan can continue to pose as the absolute opposite of what they are as human beings. I'm sorry, I think that is truly horrendous. And anybody with any instinct for justice should be as outraged as I am.
And there you have it, folks. Lady C summarizes the reality of what is to come if we allow this to continue. And that's why I speak out about this, because it's coming here in the United States. In fact, it's already happening. But there are still way too many people who are still asleep. And I'm hoping that this Dan Wootton situation does shed a light on the overall problem that we have globally with these globalists who are trying to take away our rights. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into it. You can visit any one of these videos that I have put in these playlists that explain how Harry and Meghan have asserted themselves in places where they have no business to insert themselves. In the United States, we should be concerned that we have a foreigner here undermining our Constitution. I mean, this is what the bedrock of our country is about. And here we have this guy involving himself where he thinks he has the authority to do so. And I think it's time someone who has a position within our government to speak up about it and call it out. So I'm hoping that my wonderful viewers will continue to keep helping and sharing this information out and making the noise, because it is making a difference. It is helping and it is waking more people up. I am confident that we could continue to put the pressure on so Heritage Foundation can finally get it, because I do think that this case needs to move forward and the information be given to the American people. We have the right to know, especially if this foreigner is interfering with our civil rights and freedoms. America, we are definitely headed down that path, but we can prevent it. We cannot let the First Amendment fall. If we look and see what's happening in the UK to Katie Hopkins, to Alex Belfield, to Russell Brand, Dan Wootton, Calvin, and many others who have been wrongfully silenced and negatively affected by a group of leftist radicals that need to be stopped. And the only way to stop them is use your voice before it's taken away. Now, on that note, I'm calling upon other YouTubers to begin talking about this. I can't be the only one broadcasting this information. I know that this doesn't really generate a lot of clicks, but I think if more people are talking about it, we will have that bubble up effect. And that's what we need to happen here. It is truly my hope that many of you feel the same way that I do, that we each need to take personal accountability for guarding our own freedoms. Let's not forget that in May, this WHO pandemic treaty is about to take away people's personal sovereignty. Now, if they go ahead and take away our voices by suppressing freedom of speech, then do you see how easy it will be to slide in getting that signed off on? Because people who want to speak up can't speak up about it and push back. Like, I'm sorry. I like having personal sovereignty over my body, over my health. I don't want Dr. Tedros telling me what I need to do, or Meghan and Harry saying that we all need to have vaccine equity and must go through and do this for the collective. F that. Anyhow, I could go on about it, I'll just leave it at that. But please definitely share your thoughts below. And as always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Such a fraud.